Hey guys, how are you? Andy, Super Finance CEO, Y2K Credit Solutions. Today's topic, and actually this is going to be a 3-series video, because there's a lot to talk about in this video. But we're going to talk about the House Republican passing a resolution overturning student loan cancellation. That's what I want to talk about. This is going to be a 3-part video because there's a lot of information to talk about, and I don't want to put it into one video. So the first video, we're going to talk about this bill at the House Republican overturning this. 2, we're going to talk about the options for student loans. And 3, we're going to talk about how to get into repayment plan. Because I'm going to say this all the time throughout the video. August 1st, student loan repayment resumes. Okay, so you want to make sure that you're ready. But let's get into this video and let's talk about this bill. And I have a lot to talk about on this bill. And one thing about me and Y2K Credit Solution, we do a lot of research. We read, and we don't read stuff from social media because none of that stuff is real information. We get our information from the sources. So we're always on the phone with student loan, Department of Education, and their website. So anything we talk about in this in my videos, just know that research was done. It wasn't something we just coming on here and talking about and babbling about. All right. So let's talk about this bill. And first off, have you guys actually read the bill for the student loans? There's a lot of pros and there's a lot of cons in this bill, right? I don't know if you guys actually read it and the stipulations that came with it. It was a very lengthy bill. It had a lot of stipulations. It had a lot of requirements. But here's one thing. Here's the first thing I want to talk about. When President Biden was running for president, that was in his campaign. Student loan forgiveness. But it wasn't all of the student loans. All of your entire student loan. It was not your entire student loan. It was a certain period of time that you went to college. They were going to forgive the student loans, right? Under other stipulations and requirements that you had to meet. But with that being said, what happens to all the people that went to school in 2001, 2002, 2003, 4, 5, 6, etc.? What happened to those guys? They were not included in that bill. That means they're still paying their student loans. That was an issue I had because I have a lot of friends that went to college when I went to college that are paying student loans back, federal and private, right? And they're still paying it, just like myself. 2, the student loan forgiveness only covered certain occupation, like medical, law enforcement, government. What happens to all the people that went to school they're an attorney? I have a lot of attorney friends, hence the reason my company is so on the straight path, because we have a lot of attorneys behind my company that make sure we don't do anything unethical. I have attorneys that work in CFPB office, attorneys that work for the bureaus, attorneys that work for the government. Those are all my attorney friends that anytime I need to know something, we go there. But my point is, what happened to attorneys? What happened to engineers? I went to school to get an engineering degree. I have a lot of engineer friends. They still got to pay their student loan back. What happened to the people that went to school to become business owners or business management degrees? They're still paying their student loan back. There's a list of careers that was not included in this bill. That's the second con. There's pros and cons, right? 3, the bill was only for a certain amount of money or a certain amount of years. But that was President Biden's campaign when he was getting into office. I'm going to do student loan forgiveness. This bill has been being proposed or being implemented since 2019. It's been shut down, it's been turned down, it's been delays. Now, Republicans has vetoed it, and President Biden has stopped it, and Biden wants to veto it. By the time he decides to do that or gets to that, he's out of office. He only has, what, a year and a half left? So, I wanted to talk about this because when I did the post, and we said we gave you guys ample information, ample time to let you guys, where I was more referring to, this bill was never going to get passed. It was never going to happen. It can't happen. There's going to be a lot of issues around it if it does happen. right? So I wanted to talk about it because a lot of you guys are waiting for this forgiveness, and it's not going to happen, or you're spending your money, and you need to start saving your money because your student loans. Here's one thing you don't know about the student loans: the interest are going to be sky high when these repayments start. And now, there was the Sweet and Cardona lawsuit. That lawsuit I agreed with. That lawsuit got won in court. It has not been implemented yet, but if you guys don't know about that, and I'm all for that. If you went to school like DeVry or University of Phoenix University, whatever it's called, a lot of these trade schools are these schools that promise you job placement when you get out of college and you finish your course, and they didn't deliver that. I understand that. I agree with that, and that's going to be in this video number 2, right? We'll talk about that, and also getting you guys back prepared to get ready to go back into payments. But the thing with the student loan bill, it was a very unfair bill. I would love to hear your opinion on that. It's unfair because it didn't benefit everyone. It mostly benefited the president to get into office, but 2, it only benefited a certain years of people, and it didn't benefit the whole loan, right? Like, listen, I have 3 college degrees. I'm a psychologist, project management, and IT. My project management degree from Villanova University, I didn't pay for that. The bureaus paid for that when I was working for the bureaus, but my other 2 degrees, I'm paying for it. And when COVID came about, 2019, and they did the pause on student loan repayments and no interest, I was an advocate for that. I did a lot of videos. If you go back to our YouTube channels, I was urging you guys, make payments on your student loans while there's no interest, because the interest is the biggest part of it. Make payments on your student. I did that. I paid off almost all my student loans, right? I paid off almost all of it. I probably owe like $1,000. But instead of me spending money on frivolous things, I put it towards student loan because I wanted to get rid of that debt. And that was probably the best advice and probably the best benefit you guys would have gotten out of the whole student loan situation, paying it back with no interest, because this bill is not going to get passed. We have so much other debt. The debt ceiling for this country is insane right now. If they do that, who else is gonna? If they forgive student loans, who do you think is gonna pay that, or where do you think the money's gonna come to supplement that? It's not gonna just be wiped out. It's through our taxes, right? Our taxes are gonna go up. And one thing you have to notice with this country, when things go up with this country, it takes a while for it to come down. And if it does come down, it comes down by a percentage, not where it was originally. Pay attention to that, right? But I wanted to talk to you guys about this bill. I'm gonna put the post back up in front of this video. This bill is not gonna get passed. It's gonna be after this that was posted about the bill being turned down. This is gonna go under the carpet now. No one's gonna talk about it anymore. And student loan starts back in August, student loan repayment. So I would love to hear you guys' thoughts on this, because I know a lot of my clients have student loans. And here's another thing with the student loans: it only covered government loans. It didn't cover private loans, and private loans were not included in the COVID pause. It was not. You still have to pay your private loans monthly. I was paying private loans monthly, right? But the government loan, it was only for government, it wasn't for private. And for the work sector, I'm against that, because that was unfair for it to be just a certain amount of careers. It should be for everybody, right? Again, if you follow the Sweet Cardona lawsuit, I have a video on that as well. If you qualify for that, I say take advantage of it. Now that they were talking about doing the $10,000 forgiveness, you have to do an application for that with government loan. That application deadline was October 2022, and they still have not approved that yet. So if you have an application in there, that's great. But I urge you guys, get on the phone with student loans to find out where your student loans are and what's the status of it now, because it's not going to be pretty when August 1st comes around, especially if you're trying to buy a home. Student loan balances, and that does play a part in your mortgage approval, especially if you have a lot of debt and you have a set income. It's going to be a deal breaker for you. But I would love to hear you guys comment, questions, thoughts on this bill. What do you guys think is going to happen next? I've said it over and over, it wasn't going to happen for multiple reasons, especially maybe me doing my research on it before I spoke on the topic. So I would love to hear what you guys have to say about it. Drop a comment below. Talk to you guys soon.